How is it that you actually write an eye-catching email to a journalist? Hi guys, my name is Deepak Shukla, founder at Pearl Lemon PR. We're a public relations agency based in the UK, USA, as well as Uganda, and we're serving clients worldwide. And here today, in day number 21 of 39 days of public relations training, we're here to talk about how to write an actual eye-catching email to a journalist. But before we get into it, feel free to click the link in the description below to get access to 11 additional strategies that are not shared in this training. So look, fundamentally, this is the part where we begin a little bit to talk about the mechanics of what actually is involved when it comes to communicating with journalists. So I want to really offer you a good example or to talk about what that entails. So when you're writing to journalists, there's a couple of things to keep in mind. Number one, respect their time. Now, the way that you respect their time really is by being concise. Okay, so this is one of the first big rules when it comes to writing an eye-catching email to a journalist. You need to be concise because you need to assume they see dozens, hundreds of pitches per day or week. Okay, so they're getting pitched all the time. Journalists get pitched. That's what happens because people want PR. So journalists get pitched. So you need to respect their time by being concise. Okay. So you also need to make sure that you are being concise to the point. So you need to be to the point. So you can be concise, but then not really be to the point. And be to the point is make sure is really comprised of two things, and that's making, oh, sorry, bear with me, making sure the value is clear, and then making your ask clear. Okay, so I want to break down some of these in a little bit more detail. So respecting someone's time is manifest in a couple of ways, and that's demonstrated in the points that I've just written subsequent to that. So you want to be concise, so don't write long emails. Long emails when you don't know someone are quite off-putting. Just think about anytime you receive a long email that's got scrawls and tons of information, it just puts you off without even seeing what's actually in the content of the email. So equally to that, you want to be to the point. You can be concise, but they're not really be clear. So you can be concise without being clear. I'd love to, catch up sometime to, see how we could work together. That's concise, but that's not clear, and that's kind of annoying if I'm being honest. So being concise but to the point is important. You need to assume that a journalist receives dozens, hundreds of pitches per day or week because they're getting pitched all the time. So for that reason, it's vitally important that you are clear, you are direct, and ultimately that the value that you're bringing is also clear. Because if there's not a clear value add, then the journalist will think, well, what's in it for me? Yeah, hey, Frank, I'd love to, you know, set up some time to talk to see how, I might be able to support you. Thanks. Like that is concise, that is respectful of their time, but it's not, it is to the point, but it's not clear, or it's not making my ask clear, or and I suppose make the what's in it for me, what's in it for me clear. So that's ultimately, so with him is what is in it for me. So that's where you're making your value to the journalist clear, showing that this is my value to you. This is how you're going to value from this email, from this content that you're writing. And that's a really important part of the email itself, making the ask clear, making the what's in it for them clear, and making, your ultimately your value clear. Like, what is it that you want? How is it going to help me? And why should I accept that request or do that for you? And that's where it comes to the expert positioning, the expert bio. So a lot of these elements are super important when it comes to writing an eye-catching email to a journalist. In the advanced training that I've got, you'll be able to get real examples of what this might look like. And the other element is formatting is king. There are nuances to formatting. You know, don't use multiple colors. Make sure that you use a consistent font throughout. If you're going to italicize, bold, or underline, or bullet point, then do so carefully and understand what you're doing it for. And if you begin to follow these rules, you're much, much more likely to build a structure that's going to ultimately be a lot more. You're going to find journalists are a lot more receptive to it because you're able to follow some of these rules when it comes to writing, making eye catching, and just answering ultimately a lot of these points. So I hope that that makes sense. These are some of the mechanics, the 7 mechanics of how to write an eye catching email to a journalist.